I'm Daniel.
And I'm Linky.
And we're from Just a Band from Kenya.
Nairobi, baby.
And you're with efrika.tv. From Africa, always something new.
Boom!
So, I mean, I'm interested, what kind of people would show up at that gig? Like, what kind of vibe is it when Just a Band plays at home?
Now, interestingly, well, okay, generally there's usually a bunch of people, I guess mostly young people who are around our age, and people who are kind of interested in maybe like arts and culture type stuff. And then we get like a lot of people who are maybe tourists or like expatriates and those kinds of things. But then the interesting person that I met this time was a guy who's like 19 years old, and he brought his 17-year-old sister as well. And then they were telling us about how they like our stuff. They've liked our stuff since they were like 14, 15. And then the thing where, you know, when we were growing up. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when we were growing up, we used to do this thing where we'd like a few musicians who would never be shown on TV. So you'd have to wait for a specific time for like Blue 6 or something to come on Channel O. And then these guys, they used to do the same thing for us. Which,
really?
Yeah,
I thought...
No, oh yeah, I didn't tell you guys yet. I thought that since by the time we started doing all this stuff, it's like we're uploading things on the internet, so it's like really accessible. So I thought that the kind of way that we grew up listening to music had like died forever. But they said that that's what they did when they were like 14, 15. And plus that 15, 16-year-old age is like when the music that you like at that age, it's like it hits you hard, you know? So I was like, this is insane. And then, on top of all that, the guy is an insanely talented animator, motion graphics artist. He sent us some of his stuff.
That kid who said
I just wonder, like, what your relationship is with hip-hop. Because when I look at MTV Base, and I look at Channel O, and I look at all these other channels that have a foothold in Africa, like Trace, and the way they sort of support or push forward this idea of, like, hip-hop in Africa, you know, and I have my own views on that, musically, politically, and otherwise, you know. So,
I'm interested to hear what
your views are. I just want to know what your relationship is with hip-hop, and what the relationship that hip-hop has with you guys in Kenya is.
That's interesting. Like, okay, I think we all like hip hop. Like, I think there's only one of us who's not. Of the four of us, there's only one of us who's not a hip hop head.
Although even he has like
hip hop that he likes.
Yeah.
But it's like a small chunk compared to what the rest of us listen to. But I'm not I think I like old school hip hop much more than I like what's playing on TV right now, where people had something to say.
Right.
Yeah, I'm more into that kind of hip hop. So, like a Tribe Called Quest type podcast, all those kinds of cuts. But there's always like a hip hop record in our albums, because it's like I'm not a singer, and I'm not a rapper. So take the best of both worlds.
I worry about where the mind, you know, of the hip hop head is right now, because for me there's something very close to my heart, you know. But I worry when I watch MTV Base, Channel O, Trace or whatever, you know. Some stuff is still on point, it's still there, it's still moving in the right direction, and some stuff I feel is misguided, you know. Yeah. And maybe that's controversial, but I feel I can say it because at heart I am a hip hop head, and in terms of listening to music and watching, I've stuck with it. But it's like there's a strange gap. I don't feel like there should be as big a gap between the hip hop community and something like Just a Band or Blackjacks and so on and so forth, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I was saying, your question was whether or not we consider ourselves, or if we're working towards sort of commerciality or remaining sort of alternative and so-called underground. And what I was saying to that is, it kind of connects back to my question about sort of what is commercial amongst youth in Africa at this point in time, and what are we told is commercial in Africa at this point in time, you know? What is being propagated, you know, by the television, you know, people, you know, like the stations, you know? Are they putting people onto stuff? Are they teaching them stuff, or are they just pandering and following what they think, you know, is commercial and should be commercial, or is it just people with money who can get onto TV? You know, it's a very tricky subject. I think at the end of the day, the people will decide what is commercial and what is underground or alternative. You know, I don't think we care much for being either, you know?
Yeah.
So mostly our audience is kind of outside of those mediums, you know, in terms of what they hold dear to them, you know? The things that are most precious to them are usually not on TV, you know? They're the things that they find themselves, you know? A Blackjack's vinyl in a small store in town, you know, a Blackjack show in some dingy alleyway, you know, whether they see us in a stadium or an alleyway, to them it doesn't matter, you know. It's something that's close. It's something that's close to them. It's different from what's on TV, if you will.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was watching a documentary called Press Play.
Oh, Press Pause.
Press Pause and Play. And they're talking about the way in this generation it's much for a Stevie Wonder type of musician to actually make it to radio right now. Like, it's like everything is dumbed down. So it's like, how does an artist balance being an artist and being true to your art, but also not being burnt out because like people are not buying into this because what's being promoted everywhere is dumb stuff. And it's always going to be a very interesting debate, I feel. But you're right, it's like you have to do the stuff that you feel is true, and your audience will push you to. I think Radiohead is a good example of that. That you can do
Radiohead.
your thing. Yeah.
And so this thing of like just staying, you know, keep being just a band, you know, and people will come around or they won't, you know, and it is what it is. You know?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for me, I think what I can say is that in Africa, I'm quite happy, like now, doing something like this, you know, Efrika.tv, you know, giving this part of our culture, you know, a voice, you know, because I feel it's very much missing, you know, in popular media. And I think, I guess the internet is the answer, you know. It was the answer for the Blackjacks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I guess because like all these scenes on the continent are kind of isolated, so you have all that stuff that's going on in Angola, and then you have the stuff that's going on in South Africa, and South Africa has like a whole bunch of scenes, then here in East, and things in Nigeria and all that kind of stuff, and then there isn't that much cross-fertilization.
Our record was released on Saturday, and we've done covers, but we've done covers of old Kenyan musicians. So the thing about it is that we are so focused on. I always feel like we are always focused on the next big thing. It's like that's always the thing here. It's like, oh, we've discovered the next best thing, and you have this repository of music from back in the day, and people who made some seriously cool tunes, but not very many people in our generation know these guys. So it's like I'm more interested in being a cross between our generation and those guys, and being a link, because it's like if they're forgotten completely, there's some musicians who will never ever hear about some of those old guys. So the covers that we've done on this new album is of a band from an old Kenyan funk band from the 70s, and a Tanzanian musician from around the same time who used to write some really melancholic lyrics, but it's like masked in this beat. So like dancing to a very sad song. So like now we took that music and now did it in like something that in a way that brings out what exactly he was saying.
Awesome.
So like you listen to his lyrics and you listen to the music and they work together. So that's what we've referenced on this album, like the old school, and also like what we think would be. There's some tracks that are super. They sound a bit futuristic, not super futuristic, but they sound futuristic. So it's like a blend of that. That's what I feel.
Wait, I'm interested. Which songs are those that are the cover versions that reference these artists from the new album? The album is called Sorry for the Delay, by the way. I want to talk about that as well.
Yeah. So there's an old Kenyan band called Mighty Cavaliers.
Right.
The Mighty Cavaliers. And the Tanzanian musician is called Issa Juma, who was super big back in the day. Mm-hmm. And my dad used to play this music a lot, but I hated it at that point in time. Then, yeah. Then all of a sudden, like I just really started liking, back to check this stuff and really liking what I was listening to. Because even the way they were writing, that for me is always the most impressive thing. That the way they were writing was a way that is thought-provoking, but is also entertaining. So it's not like, it's not preachy, it's not pretentious, it's just, they're just being themselves. And that's one of the things I really liked about those two records. There's two songs that I really like, Lakeside.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite is Mzabalazo.
Right.
So, like, is that a cover of an old song, or is, yeah? Did you guys write it?
Yeah, Mzabalazo is a struggle song. Basically, it means join the revolution, and it used to be sung on the streets by people who are rioting or marching to call in other people to join in, to not just stand by, but join the march. So the whole song is join the revolution, and that's what it's saying, you know.
Yeah.
And the original Us people, where were you when we were burning down such and such a building, when we were running down such and such a street, where were you, join the revolution? Those were the lyrics. And in our version, it's more like we're talking about musical heroes, African musical heroes. Where were you when Huma Sigela, you know, was doing his thing, you know, and so on and so forth, you know? So join the revolution. Join the revolution. So
that's cool.
It's a cover, and I mean it's an a cappella originally, of course, because the people are running in the streets. They're not running with instruments, you know. So it was like so it's like a vocal song, you know. But we thought the notation was very much punk rock and roll, so we played it on guitars, and it sounds like an Iggy Pop and the Stooges. You know, the best thing that Iggy Pop and the Stooges could do. You know, it's just really like a punk rock song, and that's what attracted us even more to it, to do what we did with it. And I think for that reason, we take ourselves out of it, and we can look at it objectively or subjectively, I don't know, and we can say it is awesome, you know. So when people talk about that song, we don't even feel like, oh, we should be humbled or something, because it's not our song. So when somebody says, yo, that song is awesome, we also go, it is, right? It's crazy, you know. It feels like we're not a part of it. You know, it's a people thing, you know. So that's what's up.
I watched it on the what's it called? The World Cup performance. I think that's when I first listened to it, and that I was so like I listened to that record a lot. I really like it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the connecting that's happening here, we should definitely try to take it further. I was just, we're talking to some people now. Efrika is coming to Johannesburg in January.
Yeah.
You might be hearing it first right here, right now.
Breaking.
Yeah, breaking news. And it's a big thing, because, you know, in Mali, you know, the political situation and how they've banned music in the north, and you know, the place where he comes from, you know, and apparently Tinariwen's gear got burned or something like that. And I think for us, like as musicians, it's kind of circulating in that circuit, you know. I think we need to step up and do something. I'm not sure what, but this is something maybe we need to take up as a discussion when we talk about getting together and doing a show in Nairobi or Johannesburg and so on and so forth, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. Hey, I like the picture in the back, the Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see it.
Classic.
Bob.
Yeah. Classic one.
Bob.
And NERD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool guy there, Pharrell.
Yeah, and then there's like random pictures. There's BB King, Tron,
Brahim Masekela.
Of course, nice.
I
have a light switch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the most tasteful one it is.
What's
and
that?
Nice seat. That's a nice chat.
It's a tasteful light.
Stroke. That in my house. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.